Welcome to Brawny Conversations. I am Patrick Braun, your host. This podcast will provide our listeners with informative and entertaining discussions held with experienced people covering a wide range of topics. If you want to shorten your learning curve or just learn more about one of our topics, this is the podcast for you. Enjoy our discussion. This episode, Forever Dragons, is the experience of two young men from different parts of the country who ultimately ended up in the same place at the same time to play the game of baseball. One grew up in Northern California in a suburb of San Francisco, and the other from a city just east of Dallas, Texas. The city they ended up in is Paris. No, not the one in France. This Paris is in Texas, just about 20 minutes from the Oklahoma border and 1.5 hours northeast of Dallas. This is the location of Paris Junior College, home of the Paris Junior College Dragon baseball team, a National Junior College Athletic Association D1 program. This is where these two young men became teammates and great friends. Our two guests today are Kevin Shea and Barrett Riebock. A bit about Kevin, who is from San Carlos, California. He played high school baseball at Carlmont High School, where he's a member of their Hall of Fame. He graduated high school in 2020 and hit .359 as a switch-hitting middle infielder his junior year while playing in 26 games. In his senior year, he played 6 games due to a shortened COVID season. Following high school baseball, Kevin played prep baseball at TCS Postgrad Baseball. From TCS Postgrad, Kevin chose to attend Paris Junior College. Kevin is currently playing summer ball for the Victoria Harbor Cats in the West Coast Collegiate Woodbat League. In recent game with over 5,000 fans in the stands, Kevin, batting from the left side, laced a 2 RBI single to left in the bottom of the ninth to give the Harbor Cats a 4-3 win and a 3-game sweep over the North Paws baseball. Now a bit about Barrett, who is from Rockwall, Texas, which is located near Dallas. He played high school baseball for Rockwall and graduated in 2021. He played varsity as a sophomore, and his junior year was canceled due to COVID. He batted .347 in the 2 seasons with a .975 OPS and a .459 slugging percentage and a .515 on-base percentage. He chose to attend college and play baseball at Paris Junior College. Barrett was named as a 2022 ABCA Rawlings NGCAA D1 Gold Glove team member. He was one of 9 D1 baseball players to receive a Rawlings Gold Glove. He was named a 2022 NGCAA Division I All-American. In the fall of 2022, he was a participant in the Texas-New Mexico Junior College Baseball All-Star Game. He committed to play baseball for Oklahoma University and is scheduled to play there in the 23-24 season. Barrett is also an MLB draft prospect in the June 23 amateur baseball draft, which is just a few short weeks away. Welcome to the BC Pod, guys. Are you ready to go?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having us.
Very excited to have this, and your guys' story is awesome. So let's get started. Let's start by going back to when you guys were in high school. Do you remember what you were thinking of doing athletically as a high school freshman?
Me, as a high school freshman, I was just kind of trying to follow in my older brother's footsteps. So he was, I guess, attending Ouachita Baptist at that time, which is a Division II baseball program in Arkansas. And I was just kind of trying to be like him. I didn't really know what the future would be like as far as where I would end up. But I mean, the idea of getting to play baseball in college sounded like something that I wanted to do. And that's kind of where I wanted to end up.
Now, that was Barrett. And Barrett, I believe you played at least one other sport while you were in high school. Is that correct?
I did. I used to play some basketball back in the day. Back when I was younger, I could hoop a little bit. The jump shot wasn't always there, but I could jump a little bit, and I was good at dunking the ball. Not always shooting it, but I was good at dunking.
I love it. Very good. All right, so baseball was out of the forefront of your mind. Kevin, how about you?
I mean, man, my older brother got cut his freshman or sophomore year in high school, so his path wasn't as great as Barrett's older brother. But my freshman year of high school, man, I just wanted to play. I mean, I wasn't concerned about my future at all. All I knew is that I liked baseball. I really wanted to play baseball. It was what I felt like I was best at. And I mean, back then, you don't really think about like, man, what is this going to turn into? You just think of, I like playing this right now, and I just don't want to do anything else. So that's sort of what it was. When I was in high school, and especially early days in high school, I'm just trying to fight for a spot on the junior varsity team. While I was, a 5'3", 5'2" freshman. I wasn't exactly a big kid ready to, wreak havoc on the high school scene. But, especially, I think most freshmen in high school, they don't really care about anything except get and see the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Kevin, did you play other sports as well?
I play recreational soccer. I had to make the choice because the soccer and baseball season conflicted, and it really wasn't much of a choice for me. I was already a baseball player, but you catch me on the field sometimes. I'll still put a nice touch on that ball.
Oh man! Well, and the other thing I'd like our listeners to know is you guys are kind of on two opposite ends of the size spectrum, right? And what's really cool is that Kevin, you said you were a 5'3" freshman, and Barrett, when you were a freshman, I'm guessing you were probably 5'9" or 5'10". Maybe?
Yes, sir. That's probably about right.
Right, and today, Kevin, give kind of your metrics, and Barrett, give your metrics.
Right now I'm standing about 5'10", 180 pounds, and I go to the doctor every year for my physical, and I ask them, when am I going to be 6'3", and they say never. So they say I'm done, is what they say. Hypothetically, I'm supposedly done.
You can always get heavier.
But I can always get heavier. That's what I tell them.
Yeah, you're gonna be 6'3" going the horizontal way, son.
Barrett, but where do you stand today?
I'm about 6'2", about 200 pounds roughly, give or take. But yeah, I could, I guess, still be growing a little
lean,
bit.
Mean speed machine, right?
Exactly. Can't get too big. Trying to find the medium of still being able to run fast and then kind of having power too. So it's a happy medium for sure.
Well, see, and that's the beautiful thing about baseball. Here you guys are. You're freshmen in high school, completely different size scales and strength scales, but you both had the same dream, and you both ended up at the same place to play junior college baseball, and you're both still playing, which is awesome. And that's a testament to your skill and your desire and your ability to play the game. And you can be small, you can be big, but you still got to play.
Yes, sir, for sure.
That's exactly right. It's a beautiful sport when you see that kind of stuff happen.
It is. Well, let's stay in the high school days for a little bit. And Kevin, we'll start with you. Give us some of the highlights from your high school days playing baseball.
Oh man, it was awesome. The highlights when I was a freshman, our seniors, we had a couple kids, to me, there was a couple kids going to San Jose State. And to me, that felt like they were those guys were MLB prospects. They felt like they were on the moon. So, the highlights for me are, going to watch the varsity games when I was just a junior varsity, second string player, and starting early watching one of our seniors throw a no-hitter, and that I fell in love with my school, watching all finally having some kind of purpose with the sport, watching people show up just as fans, not as players or families. And then fast forward to my junior year, and I'm the leadoff hitter, the starting second baseman, and I get to be that guy. It's really that was kind of what makes you fall in love with the game, playing it not just because your parents want you to, but because you want to and you love it, and everyone's out there to watch you. And I guess some of the highlights, having a 4-hit day in front of 300 of my friends, in front of hundreds of people. I guess we didn't have thousands back then, but it was just hundreds. And that was, it felt like it was 36,000 at Oracle Park, So
that is so fun. Love it. Thanks for sharing that with us. And those are special memories. And that's why it's so good to play high school sports. A lot of fun. Barrett, how about you?
Yeah, my high school experience was pretty awesome. My sophomore year, we brought in our new coach, Barry Rose, who came from Frisco, and I didn't really know how to feel about that at first. It was kind of like I'd developed a pretty good relationship with the coaches before, and then we bring in this new guy, and I was like, maybe this will go good. And it was honestly probably the best thing that could have happened. I loved Coach Rose. He was an awesome dude, awesome coach. So after Coach Rose came to the program, I feel like he started changing the culture and everything around Rockwall. And my sophomore year, we went to the 4th round of the playoffs, which the team we had my sophomore year, it was like a full reload of players. Like we pretty much lost everybody in the senior class from the year before, and nobody really expected much out of us. And we ended up going to the 4th round and playing Cypress Ranch, where at the time they had 2 pitchers who one went in the 1st round of the MLB draft, and the next one was, I believe, the first pick of the 2nd round. I
remember those guys. I went to their local games in Houston.
Yeah, as it was a big wake up call as a sophomore. Being 16 years old, you go from seeing low 80s probably is that's pretty good speed to 96, 98 back-to-back nights, and that'll wake you up pretty quick. But that's where our playoff run ended. And then my senior year, we had another really good team, full of a bunch of guys who were honestly, there's a bunch of JUCO guys, like JUCO, and no like crazy big name commits or anything like that. It was just kind of a scrappy team with a really good culture. And we made it to the 5th round, and we lost to our crosstown rival. But as far as like high school highlights, that series, playing the 5th round, we played at Dallas Baptist, and I want to say we sold. It was like 5,000 or like 6,000 people were at the game. It was something crazy. And it was such a good experience, and it was pretty awesome. That is awesome. And Dallas Baptist has an amazing field. It's just a beautiful setting. And to make a run in the Texas State, I don't know if you were playing 5A, but you were playing 6A. You were Texas 6A. So yes, playing Texas 6A baseball, making it that deep in the playoffs, that's quite an accomplishment. Your team was really good. Yes, sir. It was fun to be a part of. Well, so, you guys are in high school. You've got this objective to try and play after high school. Were there any specific things you did while you were in school that gave you an edge or an advantage over other high school baseball players when it came to success on the field and being recruited? I feel like for me, trying to outwork the people next to you, the people around you, and surrounding yourself with people that are also going to kind of buy into that mentality. And I had 2 guys that we would either hit before practice or stay, hours after practice, and just make sure that we were doing what other people weren't, I guess. And it showed. We were the guys that were in the lineup, and we were the guys that were, performing on the field. So if you want to be that guy, then you really have to put the work in to do it. That's really well said. Really well said. Kevin, what could you add to that?
Well, I think from a real young age in high school, especially, I got the perfect blueprint on how to be the guy from the sophomore, juniors and seniors, where you can kind of tell, okay, they do it right. He doesn't do it right. And it's easy to fake your way through high school because you're not facing the best talent or the best guys. But that stuff goes away quick when you get past high school, and especially if you're going to play collegiate ball. I think a big, huge thing that I think gets overlooked is taking care of not only your baseball, but you got to take care of grades. It's it's one of the biggest things that I guess I didn't realize it in high school as much as I should have. I thought, get mostly A's, get some B's, maybe a C every now and then. But the difference that straight A's versus a C can make, I've seen guys, our catcher all throughout high school. He had one of the greatest arms, greatest bats I've ever seen. And he ended up with a 2.1 GPA. He couldn't go anywhere. He had no offers and it was strictly for his classroom business. And so I got the blueprint pretty early in high school of what guys took, how to take care of business and what, in order to get recruited, how much extra work do you have to do and also take care of the classroom.
Man, that is a great ad, Kevin. Academics plays a key role, and as we get to the discussion, once you guys get to Paris, that's a priority there. At Paris, your GPA is equally as important to your performance on the field, and that continues. So, well said. And to figure that out in high school puts you ahead of the curve.
Right. I always felt like, especially at PJC, Coach Cox, that's a good testament to Coach Cox too. And I'm sure we'll talk about him a little bit, but, I mean, there's no one that'll hammer you harder about your grades than Coach Cox. And he's like a great mentor when it comes to that stuff, because you'll learn pretty quick that you got to get it done, get it right.
Absolutely. All right. So most high school baseball players dream of playing big time D1 baseball, right? That's the dream. And they never even give JUCO a second thought. What was your mindsets when you were juniors in high school and thinking about playing college baseball?
Kind of going along the lines of what you said. Everybody wants to go to the fancy D1 and go somewhere cool. It looks cool on Twitter or whatever. You want to go somewhere that you think, makes you look good, I guess. And then the whole COVID thing kind of happens out of nowhere, and you're kind of looking, waiting for people to reach out, and then all of a sudden these people that you want to, reach out to you aren't really calling, and you're thinking, you're starting to wonder if you really want to play baseball at that point, and you kind of have to adjust your reality, and but as far as getting to junior college, I think that was probably the best thing that I could have done, looking back at it now. And I have a lot of dudes ask me who are still in high school what they think they should do as far as their recruiting goes, and I try to steer them in the direction of junior college before going to that mid-major, or somewhere that they might not really see the field if they're kind of on the fence about it. But I think going JUCO ended up being a really good experience for me, and I think it's something that really should be appreciated more by guys at the younger age. I think it's going to continue to grow, and I think it's going to continue to become a bigger part of the game.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And let's dispel one myth, and then Kevin will shoot to you. But one myth is that people go play JUCO baseball because they were bad students and didn't have good grades. And that's just not true. I know both of you are excellent students, and you could have gone anywhere you wanted academically.
Right. Yeah. I've actually seen some harder workers at JUCO than I've seen any other place in the world. I know Barrett can attest to this too. I mean, some of the guys that we had with us, Austin Testerman, for example.
Shout out Testy.
I mean, there's some people that I met at JUCO that I don't think, he probably outworks circles around most Division I players, if not like all of them. If we're going to, traveling back to my junior year also, this was 2019, my junior year. So, and I could kind of tell so I finally hit my growth spurt right before junior year, and I was whatever, 5'8", 150 pounds. So
you must have felt huge. You must have felt huge.
Trust me, I felt huge. I was like, oh, now there's no stopping me. Here comes Shea. Whatever. I had a pretty good year that year. I think I was hitting in the mid threes. I was our leadoff guy, our spark plug kind of guy. Even though I knew I was doing well and I knew I was playing to the best of my ability, there wasn't even a wink or a hint that I might go play baseball after high school that anybody wanted me. And I was doing all the showcases and stuff on the side, show up and with whatever, all the coaches show up to this field and I'm just out there taking ground balls. I haven't talked to them, but I was just trying to take some ground balls and take good BP, and hopefully they come talk to me. My goal was to go Division I, but it's easy to say, but it's such a hard plan to enact when you're not exactly the biggest guy on the field, and it's hard for you to turn heads. So, as a junior, I'm just really thinking, let's just keep playing baseball and eventually something will work out. Right. But without any sort of plan and any sort of way to, get those guys' attention, I really didn't know what was going to happen. And had I known really about JUCO and that route, I might have planned for it a little earlier because, as a junior in high school, I was trying to get those guys' attention. And I had nothing. And then especially my senior year, having supposedly my year, this is the year everything goes right and I do it. And 6 games in, we're bagged.
Yeah.
Things definitely took a turn.
Yeah, that was a rough year for sure. And on so many fronts, baseball was one of them, but obviously very, very challenging year for everybody. So Kevin, you've got a pretty unique path, right? From high school, you went to a post-grad program.
Yes, sir.
And tell us about that. How did you end up there? And the post-grad program was in Texas.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Just right in Dallas, I believe.
Yes, sir. McKinney. And that was a crazy transition. That was a weird pivotal point in my life. And it didn't make sense to me at the time. I knew what I was doing, but I was still a little scared and intimidated. That was a weird conversation because we're in the middle of COVID. It's 2020. And I know in Texas it was a little looser, but in California, we couldn't even leave our house, let alone go to the store for 5 months.
Wow.
And, it was some insane stuff. I'd never seen anything like it. It was scary. We didn't know what was going on. We were trying to figure out our lives. Everyone's trying to figure out everyone's, in California, they're all standing still. They're like, okay, let's pump the brakes on everything. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to play baseball again, am I? I don't know what's going to happen. I was like, I can't get recruited. There's no place for me to go. I was like, what do I do?
And at that time, nobody was even playing baseball.
I know no one's playing baseball. There's no chance I get recruited now. And so, everyone's trying to figure out their lives, and baseball was my life. So I was like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And, I remember seeing one of my best friends, he goes to TCU. He was like, they're starting on time. I was like, I still get to go to Texas. And I was like, and he said that, and I remember thinking, Texas would probably be like the place to be. I'm sure they're going to play. They'd already announced that California schools weren't going to be playing their season. And I was like, man, I can't just take a year off. I was like, that could be really that could hurt me. So I was like, all right, let's go to Texas. And I started looking up opportunities in Texas, like how to play. I was like, I don't want to go to some Division III in Texas or something like that. I was like, it's really late for me to try to recruit myself. And I remember I looked up someone, I think my coach had suggested a post-grad year. And I was like, what's a post-grad year? And I looked it up, and it opened up this whole new world. And I was like, well, this seems like the place. It's like the clouds parted, and I was like, this makes sense. It's a year.
That's amazing.
That doesn't eat a year of eligibility, and I can get better here. I can put on weight, and during this whole year, I can wait for the pandemic to sort of die down, and I'm sure by the time I'm done, I'll have a place to play. I was like, this makes sense. It totally made sense to me.
That is really, really amazing, actually. And so you did it, right? You signed up and you did it.
It was no looking back. And so it goes from, 2020 knowing, man, 2020 was such a crazy year, but I'm sitting in my California home with my family for 6 months. We're driving each other crazy. And I was like, I found a place to play, and I was like, I didn't care. Where it was, I was just like, I get to play baseball again. So it sort of made me appreciate the game a lot more than I think I had before. When you're going down to Texas, and I drove down there, and this was first time in New Mexico, first time in Texas, and I'm driving down here, and it's like you can watch as everything flips backwards to what I've known. And the mountains that I drove through in California and Arizona are gone, and it's flat. And I'm in Amarillo, Texas. And it was a huge culture shock. I've never been a part of something like that where, every week or so I'd look around and be like, I'm in Texas. Yeah. I'm just in Texas. Growing up in a pretty different part of the world in California. I mean, I'm in California,
Marin County, which is about as beautiful as it gets.
I mean, site wise, it's completely different. People wise, political wise. I mean, it was a pretty big flip. So, I mean,
all right. So let's fast forward here now. So now you're at post-grad.
Oh yeah.
Right. How did that go? And how did you end up at Paris Junior College the next year?
Well, that's also pretty cool. That the way that happened, the way it did. So in the fall, I show up to TCS, and immediately I'm there. I called it my business trip. And my original plan, I told my parents, I said, I'm going to wait for this year to pass, or wait for COVID to pass, and I'm going to come home. And I was like, I'll live at home. It'll be cheap. I never planned on staying in Texas. In fact, I came in with the mindset that I wasn't going to like Texas, and I probably was going to leave as soon as I could. A
lot of Californians feel that way.
A lot of Californians, and you know what? Texans feel that way about Californians. Let's be honest. I'm in TCS, and I earned the starting shortstop spot, which was awesome. And I love my coach Jeff Robinson. I mean, I still keep in touch with him, and we went. This was the toughest part about TCS is we went 1-25, and that one came real late. So for a while we were 0-20, 0-21, 0-22, and that was tough. But
and you're playing junior college teams.
Oh, we're playing junior college teams. We're playing some NAIAs. We're playing junior college teams, and they're pretty good. And one of the teams on our schedule was Paris Junior College, and that's where I met Coach Cox and a bunch of guys that I ended up playing with. The first time I showed up to Paris, I was playing them, and they kicked our butts over and over. And somehow throughout the year, they were the team I ended up dominating. I couldn't get out against them. I couldn't make an error. I was fielding the crap out of the ball. Paris Junior College just happened to be the team that I ended up killing them. But I mean, regardless of how well I did, we ended up losing by 12, 15 runs at times. I remember the first time we played them, I think they beat us by about 18 runs, and I went 3 for 3 and made like 7 plays in the field. And Coach Cox gives me a call after the game talking about how much he liked my play and how I field the ball and how I go about my business. And I was so happy to get out of TCS, going from a 1-25 situation to Paris Junior College, where I knew they kicked butt because they kicked mine. That was awesome. Kind of the best situation at the time.
That is awesome. So from the first time you played at Paris, how long was it, before you kind of knew you were going to Paris?
Let's see. So I was always, I had heard Coach Cox had reached out to me, and I was thinking, well, this would be a great place to play, but if I commit here, that means I'm staying in Texas for another 2 years. And I was like, this is completely different than my plan I had. I'm not going to be able to see my family, not going to be able to live at home. But I think it was we played them for the first time in February, and I probably committed around late March. So it was a good month and a half of sitting on it. But I mean, Coach Cox didn't offer me until early March, because we had played him for a second time and I had done pretty well again. It was complete. I mean, I called my parents. I was like, I also will say this about the TCS guys is the coaching staff really had my back, and they were like, they knew Coach Cox and they knew the Paris program. And they told me, they were like, Kevin, this is a place that'll get you where you want to go. They're like, this is a great spot. Coach Cox doesn't over recruit like some places do. They were like, you'll see the field, you'll play. Like, this is a place that you probably want to go. And they stopped. They were like, if you want to go somewhere else, we'll help you. We'll help recruit you. But they said, but you got an offer to go play baseball, Division I JUCO baseball at a pretty good program that I think you'll do well at. They were like, we think you should go there. And so they were kind of pushing me towards Paris. And a month later, I was like, yeah. I mean, I took a visit. It didn't blow me away, but it was enough. I mean, I could get the taste of what was about to happen. So I was like, I think this is the place for me.
What a cool story. That is awesome. That is awesome. I've got the hairs on my arms are standing up. That is really, really awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, Barrett, we got to switch over to you now. Now, how'd you end up in Paris? What was the process?
Yeah, so I guess mine's not as crazy as the Kevin Shea story over here, the country traveler. But mine was it was pretty, I guess, basic as far as just the regular recruiting goes. I was the whole COVID thing happened my junior year, so it was I'd been talking to some mid majors and stuff like that, but all I really had was like some walk-ons to those places, and then I had a walk-on to another junior college, and I had an offer from Paris. And my senior year, I was just kind of like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do at that point. I thought I'd be in a different spot at that time. And I had really good conversations with Coach Cox. And it was the way he talked about the environment at Paris and kind of getting an idea of what it would be like there and kind of the camaraderie of the team. It sounded like a place that I would really enjoy and probably be a place that I would end up playing at. And once I kind of weighed the decision down, I figured it'd be smarter to go a place that has given me an offer that actually wants me, opposed to somebody that's trying to, get me to walk on and just, I guess, take a chance on me. And I really felt like it was the place for me. And the fall of my senior year, I decided to commit to Paris and kind of get the monkey off the back. And that way I could just play my senior year without having to worry about any sort of recruitment or anything like that. And that I feel like it was, it's paid off for me in the long run, and I'm really happy that's where I ended up. And I got to meet some cool dudes too. Paris is an awesome place, so it was it's been good for me.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into that, and your process obviously was much more traditional, but what a mature decision you made to not go, as we talked about, that glamorous, D1, maybe you play, maybe you don't, but it looks great on Twitter, and you talked about the culture at Paris, and that's very true, but it's a gritty dirtbag culture. Work hard, outwork everybody. And when we say work hard, the workouts at Paris are intense, and we'll get into that a little bit, but it's not for the weak-minded or the faint of heart. You got to want to be there. And that was a very mature decision that you made to make that move over the other options you had.
I really try to encourage, like, a lot of guys. I have a little brother who's still in high school, and I know a lot of his friends, and I really try to encourage dudes to, really consider junior college before trying to play at some place that maybe that wouldn't be a good fit for them at that time. And I like I said, I think it's a really good experience, and it's an opportunity to play and be in the lineup on the field every day, and give yourself a chance to be seen by other people.
It is. And we'll do a quick aside here because, one of the observations I got to watch you guys play a lot in the fall and the spring. And in the spring, I think you played in excess of 55, maybe 57 games. And I think I probably saw 50 of them. And, the big deal is, in JUCO, as a hitter, you face really quality pitching, and they're all throwing in the 90s. But that wasn't the big deal. You guys can all hit that. It's the off-speed stuff that I saw in JUCO pitchers that was amazing. Sliders, forkballs, changeups, everything with wicked movement and changing speeds. And that's where someone going from high school to JUCO, they really elevate their ability as a hitter. You almost become a professional hitter. If you have success in JUCO hitting, that translates to D1 baseball very, very well. You guys comment on that. Did I hit the mark?
Oh yeah, for sure it does. And I think kind of going back to the whole COVID thing that happened, I really think that kind of helped stack the JUCO rosters. There are a lot of guys who I think fell through the cracks at places where maybe they probably could have been at, and they ended up going JUCO, not getting seen during that whole COVID year. And I think it really, really loaded up the junior college rosters and brought the talent levels to, an all-time high in my personal opinion. I think it was pretty. I mean, we played against some really good dudes, really good pitchers, and everything. It's insane how much talent is actually in the JUCO level.
Yeah, there'd be times where we'd be lacing up to go face, a doubleheader where we'd be facing some sort of couple Power 5 commits with this is the first time I'd seen like a true 3-pitch mix out of a guy where he could throw all 3 for strikes, command it. And you're facing guys and they're going to compete at the next level. And it's just like, they leave no doubt. So it's like you get a real feel for where you're at too. You're like, I can compete with these guys, and maybe that shows where I'm at these days. And it's a great testament to, who's really put in the work. And since we're all in JUCO, it's all a grind. We're all facing a similar grind. And without any of the recognition that the D1 guys get, it's a real testament to just, who wants it the most.
Well said. Right on. Okay. We're going to dive in to your specific experiences at PJC playing baseball. But before we dive in, I want to put some framework into this conversation about the success associated with the program. And, you both played 2 years for Paris Junior College under the guidance of head coach Clay Cox. In 2022, the team won the conference championship, which was a first in a long time. And then in 2023, this past spring, the team had another record year, including the following accomplishments: regional champions, program record of 41 wins, back-to-back seasons of 30-plus wins. You were ranked number 20 in the top 20 NGCAA D1 national ranking. You had 8 all-conference selections of players on the team. You had 3 all-region selections, and the team set a record GPA that was in excess of 3.8. So absolutely incredible, impressive stuff. And considering that there are 221 NGCAA JUCO D1 baseball teams, ranked 20 out of 221. That is impressive.
It's pretty cool.
Have you guys thought about that?
I remember the day that those rankings came out. We were coming off our regional win, and we'd always talked about when are they going to rank Paris? When are we going to rank Paris? We always felt like we could beat up on any team. We always felt confident, like we can take on any team. I had never been part of a ranked team. I'd never been on a ranked team. I always felt like there was some bias there, and I was always kind of mad towards those who did the rankings. But to finally get ranked right before I graduated was everyone felt pretty sweet. Really felt like we had validated ourselves, and we had proved just some weird out of the sticks Paris, Texas team could get ranked. It felt pretty good.
Yeah, that was.
Barrett, how about you?
That was a pretty cool day in Paris, Texas. We'd worked so hard, especially, Dayton the year before, me and Kevin's freshman year. There's so much hard work that goes into it, and there's so many dudes before you that kind of lay the groundwork to get you to where you're going. And to finally get that recognition, I know it was big for us, but I know there's also a lot of guys who have been through the program in the years past that were, just as happy about it as we were. And it was nice to get that recognition, and it was a testament to all the work we're putting in. And after that regional tournament, I feel like we left no doubt that we belong, and it was pretty awesome.
Well, I got to tell you, watching PJC play baseball, it's a fun brand of baseball, right? It's truly team baseball, doing all the small things, getting on base, taking the extra bag, hustle doubles, laying bunts down, hitting home runs. It's just a lot of fun. Getting hit by pitches, right? It's old school baseball at its best, and I just love it. It's
that traditional nose to the grindstone baseball. It's fun to play. It's fun to be a part of.
That.
It starts day one. For real. I think Coach Cox is, he tells you from day one, we're going to do the little things correctly. And he's like, we'll hit some home runs, but there's going to be times where the wind blows in and you're going to have to find a way to win a ball game. So unless you're just gap to gap stroking the ball all day and it's your day to hit, you're going to need to find ways to, lay a bunt down, steal second, steal a third, and sack fly him home or something like that. And I think that's sort of the mentality that we have of, when things aren't going our way, maybe we don't have the bats that day. How are we going to win? And if you can find a way to turn your bad offensive days into a 6-7 run performance, you'll find ways to win games you shouldn't. And I think that's part of the reason why we've had success is because, before every single game, we're laying bunts down 3 hours before first pitch. And before every round of BP or before our rounds of BP, we're laying more bunts down. I think you'll see a bunt out of our 3-hole Ethan Guerra. He probably laid down more bunts than anybody on our team. And how often are you going to see a 3-hole at a Division I JUCO lay down that many bunts? It's just, it's a different brand of baseball. And I think it starts early. It's the kind of baseball that Coach Cox preaches. And it's part of the reason why we won so many games.
Well, and Kevin, to that point, if anybody, if you're curious, just have a little bit of curiosity. D1 and the NGCAA does a great job tracking statistics, and you can look at team statistics and where it's ranked. Just go to the NGCAA D1 baseball website and look up the Paris team offensive stats from 2023 and do a compare. They're in the top 10 of every ranking nationally from an offensive stat. And it's just crazy, but it stems from Coach Cox's philosophy of playing baseball. Right. As you just described it, right?
Right. You wouldn't expect it looking at us. You see none of our guys are big meatheads or anything like that. But you'd look at us up and down. You wouldn't see it. You wouldn't get it. And then you'd watch us play. And I guess you'd watch some of our hitters. You'd watch backside single, ball down the line, sack bunt, sack fly, bam, that's 2 runs right there or whatever it is. And you're like, okay, I kind of get it now. It's not, we're not hitting home runs 1 through 9, but we're finding ways to get on. And once we get on, the goal is to wreak havoc, stir up some chaos. And I think that's sort of, you can watch those numbers. Our numbers back it up is we find ways to get hits when we shouldn't, and we find ways to score runs when we shouldn't against pitchers that should, on paper, be better than us.
It's a beautiful philosophy. It's right. Pressure bursts pipes, and you constantly are putting pressure on the defense and on the pitcher.
That's exactly right.
Love it. All right. So Paris has a reputation for making tough baseball players tougher. And, I know for a fact Coach Cox does not recruit cream puff poser baseball players. He wants dirt bags, right? He wants guys that are grinding it out and really want it. The PJC guys are grinders that never give up, are in the game until the final out's made. Where does that toughness come from at Paris? How does Coach Cox establish that mindset in his players?
And I feel like it comes from the second you step on campus, you're held to a higher standard than anybody else there, and probably a higher standard than you've ever been held to before. Your JUCOs, especially in Paris, it's not just the prettiest lifestyle. You're working on the field almost every day. You're in the weight room almost every day. 4 hours on the field doing work and practicing, whatever it may be, and then you're doing your extra work and stuff like that. You kind of have to buy into that mentality of being a grinder, and once you buy into it, it's a good feeling almost. You kind of embrace the idea of being grittier than the people around you and these other teams you're playing against. But Coach Cox, he does a really good job of instilling that mentality, and it's really cool to see how much you grow, not even as much as a player, but as a person. You really kind of grow up and become a good human being.
And that's what's absolutely most critical in all of this, right? The baseball is awesome, but be a good human first.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Coach Cox. First of all, it's what you sign up for. When you commit to a place like Paris, you got to know what you're getting yourself into. And Coach Cox, he'll tell you. He always says this. He says, I can't guarantee you'll go play Division I baseball after here, even though at Paris, you have a statistically just as likely chance as anywhere else in the country. He says he can guarantee us two things. He says he can guarantee that we'll be tougher and we'll appreciate the little things more. And I didn't get that really until I really got to Paris and I really experienced it. And I mean, it makes you grow. It really does make you appreciate the little things more. You're like, man, like this shower has a curtain. You're like, wow, all the little things. You're like, man, like I don't have to be around a bunch of other guys when I go to the bathroom. It's a lot. It's a bunch of little things like that where, you know, it's a junior college. I mean, it forces you to grind and really, really work for everything you get. And so when you do go out to, you know, your new places, or now that I'm up in Canada, I appreciate everything. Like knowing that Paris has really made me earn everything I have.
Really well said. Really well said. And I know exactly what you're talking about, those bathrooms.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Those are memories for a lifetime, and you're going to be a better man because of it.
Yes, exactly. That's the truth.
So guys, JUCO baseball is generally very, very different from high school baseball. And it's so many ways. You got 9-inning games instead of 7. Mm-hmm. You've got intense fall training that is probably more baseball, more training you've ever done in your life, just happens in the fall. Then you've got a spring regular season of 50 plus games. You've got effectively unlimited team practice and training, long road trips, top level competition. What was the transition like for each of you guys moving from high school to JUCO?
It was definitely a big jump, especially going from Rockwall, Texas to Paris, Texas. It was completely different way of life. A lot slower in Paris, but it's a lot higher level of baseball. You're playing against dudes. Every guy there was their guy at their high school, and you're playing against people that are just as talented as you, just as good as you, and you have to find ways to beat those guys. And it comes from how much harder you have to work. You learn that doing the bare minimum or what you thought was good enough isn't good enough anymore, and you kind of have to take yourself to that next level and find new ways to make yourself grow, make your game grow, and figure out what you have to do to put yourself on the field and make sure you're exceeding while you're out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well said.
You got a good point. I think for me it was a lot more physical. Because coming off, you know, you play in high school, what is it? It's like 2, 3, 7 game or 7-inning games a week. And then at Paris, for the first time ever, I mean, we'd go in the fall ball. I mean, you're going 16 innings straight, whether it be 8 and 8 or 7 and 9. And it puts some pressure on your body. And I think you feel some new aches and pains that you don't usually feel. And that was a big adjustment, really finding a way to push yourself, because, I mean, you're trying to win every single game in JUCO, obviously, just like every other place. But finishing the 7 and, you know, meeting in the clubhouse afterwards, just trying to catch your breath and then going back out for 9 more. I mean, that's mentally taxing and it's physically taxing. And I know Barrett can attest to it. It's a different kind of pain. And push yourself through. You know, it's a great pain. It's fun. I mean, you do it again if I had the opportunity, but it's a different kind of grind than high school.
It is very physically demanding. Kind of going to what Kevin was saying there about in between. I mean, you have 16 innings a day, and you're in the middle of your doubleheader, sitting in the middle of the clubhouse when it's 100 degrees outside, and you feel like you're about dead, and you're wondering, how am I about to go play 9 more innings? And it's mentally and physically so demanding. And if you're not putting in the work and actually being pushed to that limit whenever you're not on the field, then when you actually get onto the field, you're not going to be able to handle it.
You don't stand a chance.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's why we work so hard in the fall. And why we work so hard when we show up, and it's going to be hot when you show up in Paris, Texas. It's still summertime, and Coach Cox knows that, and he pushes you. And there will be times in the fall where you're pushed to your breaking point, and to where you don't think you can go much further. And then when you're in the spring, and some teams dead tired after a 7-inning dogfight, and you still find some energy to put together a 9-inning win, that's where it like makes all the difference. And you're like, well, this is why we ran all those dirty doubles in the fall. And this is why we pushed ourselves so hard in the big loop and a bunch of different exercises and stuff. This is why we pushed ourselves through that, because now we have the energy. We know how to combat this feeling. We can play with our heart rates up. We can play well.
I love it.
Tired. And so
I love it.
The separation comes in, and you find ways to win those games when maybe the team was better than you that day, but you rallied the troops and you fought through the pains and the tiredness.
I love it. And not everybody that's listening to this may be aware, they're in D1 baseball, there's limitations on when they can practice and how long and how many games they're allowed to play. And really in JUCO, there aren't any of those same rules. And so just to put in perspective, right, I think in the fall, you're going to get about 100 at bats as a JUCO player. And then in the spring, if you're a starter, you're going to get 200 or more at bats in the spring. So in 1 year, 300 at bats against top level pitchers. Where else can you get that?
There's nowhere else like it. It's awesome. That's why I try to tell guys to come play. You're going to get the opportunity. I mean, there's so many games, so many innings. Like it's so hard not to, find a way onto the field or at least get a chance. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about junior college baseball.
Yeah. There's no faking it. You can't get on a 300 game hot streak. You really find, it's going to show you how much you've worked and how much you've trained. So, you don't find a place like that in a lot of other places. That's why, JUCO is such a special experience. And I recommend it to all the guys that I know. And from my high school, when I talk to them, they don't have a place to go, or they want to grow, they want to get bigger. I tell them, I said, bet on yourself here. I was like, I've rarely seen guys go to JUCO and get worse. You got to bet on yourself and trust that, you put the work in for 2 years, you're going to up your stock. You're going to be worth more to a team. And I think it's a great move. If you're not the guy out of high school and you don't have a place to go, or even if you do, go put in the work for 2 years and see what happens. You can, I almost guarantee you'll up your draft stock or your player stock.
Yeah. The only key requirement is you got to have some talent, right? You got to be good at the game, and you absolutely have to have that dog in you. You've got to, right? Because otherwise you just won't make it. You gotta be tough.
Dog eat dog world sometimes.
It is. All right, guys. So, what are some of the things, the experiences, the memories that you're going to take away from your JUCO experience now that you're both done playing at PJC?
I think the big thing for me is just I'll never forget the guys that I go through it with. There were days there where, it felt like, I was isolated. I couldn't go sleep. No matter what happened at Paris, just days where I was beat down mentally, where I can't go home. I can't sleep in my own bed, can't see my family. And so, what do you do when you're mentally weak and this place is just beating you down? It feels like the whole world's against you. The memories that I make are with the guys I'm doing it with. And it's just like, when finally the day's done and I get to go recover and I'm beat. Having Barrett and Ryan and even Jackson and all the guys that I'm with, just the guys that are really like my brothers. They see me at my lowest of lows, and so that's why I love when they're there at my highest of highs. Those are the JUCO memories. That I'll never forget, the days where, I messed up and I was the guy getting punished, and I was the guy, sweating all over the field, and it was my turn to, paying some dues. Being able to go back to Hatcher Hall and hang out with the guys. That was worth more to me than any baseball game. Truly, it creates bonds that you don't see very many places. Because JUCO can break you down.
Kevin, that's really well stated. You guys are, these guys you played with, you went to war with them. You were at, I call it baseball boot camp. You were in it together, and you're going to be friends for life.
Seriously.
It's awesome. Yeah. Barrett, how about you?
Yeah, kind of going off what Kevin said, the relationships you build, that's probably the biggest thing that you're going to get to take away from junior college. It's especially in Paris, Texas. There's nothing else like it, and I feel like some of the stories that I have, the only people that can relate to them are from Paris, Texas, and played on that baseball team.
Yeah,
it's incredible. It was an awesome experience. Looking back at all the memories and stuff, it was so fun. If I could do it all over again, I would. Even some of the bad parts, I guess. But it was it's a special thing, and it's a special thing to be a part of. And to have the success we had too, along with the brotherhood of it all, you don't always get both sides of it. And to have the success and all the good times and the memories with these guys, it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear you guys say that. And one of those famous quotes, well, that which does not kill you makes you stronger. And, you two are both a testament to that going through. I mean, you're way stronger as men, as individuals now, graduating, with your associate's degree from Paris Junior College than you were when you entered. And, the truth is baseball is going to end at some point in time. It does for everybody. It might be at, 44. It might be at 21. It might be at 18. You don't know. But with you guys, those friendships you've made at Paris with your teammates over the years will be friendships that will last a lifetime, and it will go way beyond your baseball playing days. And that is really, really cool.
Oh yeah, it's pretty awesome. I always told Coach Cox if Paris was a 4-year college, I'd stay for all 4 years if I could. With all the guys that I've met there. I mean, the dudes from this past year, the dudes from the year before, it's such a cool experience.
It's probably one of the hardest things about JUCO is that, these guys are like my brothers, and, I've fought battles with them, and we've been through highs and lows together, and we only get to be together for a year. I mean, I know them for 9 months.
Yeah.
And Barrett and I have been together for more. I mean, I've been with Barrett for the past 2 years more than I haven't been with him. So, there's that, but I mean, it's at the very end of the day, it's 2 years. And there's some guys who I love to death where I don't know when the next time I'm going to see them. I mean, we're 3 states apart. So it's the toughest part about JUCO. But again, if it was 4 year, I would stay 4 years with Barrett and the boys.
That's awesome to hear. And, hey, that's the beautiful thing about today's world is you are able to stay connected in so many ways and keep those friendships going, right? Social media, phone calls, FaceTimes, following each other's baseball careers. I mean, it's a cool thing. And I know it's hard to believe, but someday you guys are going to get married and have kids, and you're going to be, going to each other's weddings and, being visited, birthdays for kids and all kinds of fun stuff. You never know, man. There's so much more ahead of both of you. It's going to be fun to watch.
The good thing that keeps me coming back is I know I will see him again. That's always nice, is that we will have weddings and stuff in the future and reunions, and I'll see him.
Absolutely. So I've talked a lot about, Paris and the way you guys, play ball and the approach. And I'd like you guys just to give some insight on just what it was like to play in that system, right? What, your mindset, your approach coming out of high school, you get to Paris. I mean, are you a different player now? What does that mean for you as you're moving on in your baseball career beyond Paris? What are you taking away from playing at Paris as a baseball player?
Yeah, I think one of the good things that Coach Cox does at Paris Junior College is that he doesn't try to change you from like what your style of play is. I mean, he's going to help you and he's going to further develop you, but he's not going to make you something you aren't. And to be able to go into a place where you're getting the opportunity to play and you're getting to play to your advantages, and you're not you don't have some guy trying to make you hit home runs or whatever it might be. It's a good experience, and I feel like it helps you become better in areas that you're pretty good at, but you kind of takes you to that next level. And then Coach Cox does a good job of making sure that you find a way to get rid of your weaknesses. And it was an awesome experience. And I think playing, I grew more as a player in the past 2 years than I had in probably my whole life. And you meet so many new people and they tell you so many new things, and you kind of just pick up on all this new information that you didn't necessarily have before. And it's pretty cool to see how much better you can get in that period of time.
Very well said. Kevin?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I came in to Paris, as a pretty confident player, but I couldn't take advantage of the best parts of my game because I didn't really know how to. And I don't know if that makes sense, but I think maybe it's at Paris, Coach Cox being an infield guy. I mean, we worked on infield all the time, and I was able to really develop my defense while still being able to do stay with my offensive approach. And a big thing that I think Coach Cox helps me realize is that, you can make so many mistakes in baseball. I mean, it's a game of mistakes and errors. But the big thing that I think I realize is if you're going to make a mistake, you got to do it at 100 miles an hour. I mean, you got to be going at whatever you do in baseball, you just got to do it 100%. And it's don't get timid. The second you get timid, you get run over in baseball. And I think Coach Cox helped me realize that you're going to make so many mistakes playing this game. And that's okay. The thing is you can't make mental mistakes, and you can't make mistakes being timid. You got to be going 100% all the time. And I think Paris has been a big place where I've really been able to get confident in all aspects of the game and just play my hardest baseball and be okay if I mess up.
Okay, yeah, it's what you're speaking to about your growth as an infielder. I mean, I saw you play shortstop, I saw you play second base, and I saw you play a lot at the hot corner, third base, and play all three incredibly well. So that versatility, right, is going to serve you well as you continue to pursue baseball.
Yes, sir. It was a weird transition. I've been a middle infielder for as long as I played baseball, and part of the game is being able to adapt. And when we have Gammy Preston Gamster, who swings the bat super well, and Ethan Guerra, who swings the bat super well. And Coach Cox said, "Hey, I need a third baseman this year." I was like, "Hey, I can play third." It's still fielding the ball and throwing it.
Yep.
So I was like, you got to adapt.
Yeah, I was waiting on my chance to play third this year too, but never got it.
Coach never threw me on center either. So
Barrett, pretty much in 2 years of baseball, and I saw you play this year. I think you're out there trying to protect the grass, because I didn't see too many balls ever hit it when you were roaming center field.
Yeah, that was my job. I feel like it's a little easier on the grass and the dirt, so I'll probably just stick to doing that. I like being out there.
Well, you do it well.
Thank you.
Now let's spin this around a little bit. And now that hindsight's 2020. So you're talking to a high school player who wants to play at the next level. What advice would both of you guys offer to that player?
I think if it's something you have to be serious about. It's not something that just gets, given to you. You have to earn it. And I think developing the work ethic is the biggest part of it. I feel like I wish I would have done that at a younger age, that I really kind of started to buy into that. I feel like it probably would have helped me coming out of high school. But the work ethic's a big part of it. And then just putting yourself out there is another thing. If you want to be seen, you gotta do your best to make sure you are getting seen. And that means going to tournaments, going to whatever showcase you can, I guess, at the time, putting film out, reaching out to coaches, doing whatever you can to make yourself be seen by these guys.
Yeah. I think to piggyback off of that, I think any advice I give to my high school self or kids like me in high school is just be grateful if you ever get to play college baseball. So few guys get to. I think it's such a rare opportunity, and too many guys are always worried about what the next step is. They don't appreciate where they are. And I think I'm guilty of that too. Even a little bit at Paris, I was thinking about where am I going to be next? Because some guys do treat it like a stepping stone, a little path to the next place. And I think if I just stopped and smelled the roses, took a second to appreciate where I am, I would be I would have been happy to do that, really, really appreciate and be grateful. So I guess any advice I could give to a high school student is, put yourself out there, really make sure if you're trying to go play at the next place, are you in the best shape to do that? Or have you done everything you could? And then if you do get there, just be grateful and realize that you're in a special opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great advice, guys. And, disclaimer for my listeners is that my son Jackson plays at Paris Junior College and just finished his freshman year there. And I don't know if you guys know this, but, Coach Boone, who is the assistant coach and recruiting coordinator for Paris, found Jackson via Twitter and started a relentless pursuit. And we were like, who is this? And what's Paris? And but if it wasn't for Twitter and the posts that Jackson had out there of his playing, Paris wouldn't have found him. And, we're really glad he's there.
Social media is becoming a big part of it all. It's a big tool. And I encourage younger guys to use it. A lot of coaches are using Twitter or whatever it may be. And it's a good place to get seen.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And sometimes when you're posting stuff, it just seems like, but you don't make it about me. You just make it about the baseball and put it out there and something good will happen.
For sure.
Great advice. Okay. I want to talk briefly about your summer ball experiences. I know you guys played after your freshman year. I think you played in West Virginia in the Prospect League, right? And I know that's all kinds of interesting experiences, but what was summer collegiate wood bat baseball like?
Oh man. Kevin, you want to start this one off?
All right, I'll take it. So leaving Paris, you're leaving a pretty rundown town, I guess. I mean, I love Paris, but I mean, it wasn't San Francisco, I guess. But
I call it self-contained.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we were self-contained in Paris, and we're leaving Paris. I go home for about 5 days, and I ship back out to Beckley, West Virginia, to meet old Barrett and Mason Hardwick out there for some summer baseball for the Wood Bat League, the Prospect League. I mean that was a crazy experience, to say the least. I mean, we show up and this house is our house, the one that we're living in for the summer, has duct tape on its back patio, which is made of plywood. We go into the kitchen and the dishwasher's not plugged in. It doesn't work. There's no bed frames. We're just laying on the floor. We're like, where are we, dude? And we go to our practice, because we practiced for a full week before we played, which doesn't usually happen. But our coach believed in a lot of practice, and so we went and we go to take a shower day one, and the shower water is brown. The pipes were all rusted. We were like, no effing way. We were like, this place is crazy, and we're trying to make the best of our situation, and we're like, what a turnaround this place is. Oh my goodness. And we call Coach Cox, and Cox is like, no shot. And we were like, yeah, I don't know either. And luckily our host family were some of the nicest people ever, and they gave us a ton of accommodations, and we were able to make it livable for a few weeks. And so that was a crazy, Barrett and I were like, is this summer ball? It was like, is this what it's all about? We ended up playing, and we did fine. I mean, it was a really fun league, honestly. We had a good time. But it was a weird wake up call. But I mean, it wasn't ideal, but it's part of what you sign up for. And you're like, I mean, some of what you sign up for is going to Beckley, West Virginia over your summers, giving up some social time to go play baseball and maybe live in a broken down shack.
Yeah. I remember the baseball side of it was really good. Like the league itself was stacked. I mean, there were a lot of Power 5 dudes from the northeast part of the country that were playing, and the baseball was awesome. The living experience was something else. I remember getting off the coming back from practice, and Mason Hardwick had gotten to the house before us, and he was like, dude, it's really bad. And I was like, Hardwick, he's probably exaggerating. And then we got there, and it was just like, it was a nightmare. It was insane, which it's not usually like that. For anybody that wants to play summer ball.
I'll say this. My summer situation right now is great, and I love it. It's completely different than last summer. But it's just one of the things that might potentially happen, and it's okay. I mean, it's just part of it. You got to roll with the punches.
But playing the baseball side, I mean, it's awesome. You're swinging wood bat. You're in these crowds. I mean, sometimes there's 5,000 people at the game, and you got your beer batters and stuff. You got all these grown people yelling at this 20-year-old kid to strike out so they can get cheaper beer. And it's just like, it's such an experience. It's awesome.
It sounds so fun. And that's, so I know, Barrett, this summer you're not, I don't think you're playing. You're not traveling. You've got some other things that you're just getting ready to do. But is that accurate? Right? You're not playing in a wood bat league this summer.
Yes, sir. I'm just at home.
Yep, you're taking care of business. And but Kevin, you're up in Victoria, Canada, playing in the West Coast League. Is that right?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
West
That's
Coast
correct.
League. Yep. So tell us about that. And I know you. Big crowds. Just kind of give us some of the highlights of what you've experienced over the last couple of weeks.
Oh man, it's been awesome. So I get my passport already. I'm coming up to British Columbia. I'm in Victoria now, and I think it was day one. There's 4,500 people show up, just fans, just like people coming to just watch. And I got kids asking for my autograph while I'm in the on deck circle, and I'm just like, hey, I gotta go hit. There's kids out asking for autographs, asking for balls, your bat, just having a ton of fun. And the main thing that the Harbor Cats have been trying to do is just have fun, give a fun experience for the fans, and, a bunch of mini games that the fans can participate in, a ton of fun stuff. And I think so from right away, you have fun playing, there were times where, I'd be up and they announced me Kevin Shea from Paris Junior College, and I hear fans behind me start giving me nicknames. They're like Shea Butter, or, what's going on, Shea Style, or something like that. And it's like, I'm grinning now. I'm smiling now because of just how fun it is. It really puts the fun into baseball, and it makes you remember why you play. And then to have as hot of a start as I had, I guess, I sort of became a fan favorite for a little bit. And it was just, that was a one of a kind experience. I never had anything like that where people come up, want to take photos of me and stuff. Where are you going to get that?
Man, how cool. Just think back to where you were as a freshman, right?
You're
5'3", 130 pounds.
Yep.
And here you are playing in front of 5,000 fans in a summer wood bat league.
It's been one of the greatest experiences ever. It makes me not want to leave.
That's awesome.
I told Jackson, I told Preston, I said, hey, next summer, where I was like, if you want to get to a good league, I said we play good talent in front of a lot of people. You get to have a lot of fun. And the accommodation's been great. I walk to the field because it's so nice.
Well, I can tell you, I love that part of the country. When my wife and I were married, we did our honeymoon in Vancouver, which is obviously very close to Victoria. Oh, yeah. And Victoria Island is gorgeous.
It's awesome.
So what a great place to be. So guys, what's next for the two of you as you're making plans for this fall? Let's start with you, Kevin. What are you doing, right? When summer ball's over, what are you doing?
Right. So I will say Coach Cox and I have been working pretty hard this summer, finding me a home. And the big one that we've been working on is University of San Francisco, because that's an opportunity to go actually back home a little bit later than when I initially intended on going home. But I've been talking to their coach a lot, and thinking we nailed down a place for me to play. So, as long as everything goes to plan and I get into the school and I get accepted all right, looks like Kev's going to be going back home to play some University of San Francisco baseball.
Kevin, that puts a smile on my face, man. I hope that works out. And there's nobody that deserves it more than you. You're a grinder, and you're an awesome player. And I know that you're going to land in a great spot. And if that works out, I won't be surprised at all. So, man, I'm rooting for you, bud. That is great news. Love it. And Barrett, you've got some stuff going on, right? With just take us on through where you're kind of at and what's going on with you for the fall.
Yes, sir. So, I'm committed to the University of Oklahoma, which is where I'll be attending in the fall. I've got some other things going on right now with the draft coming up. It's kind of I don't really know what'll end up happening. It's all kind of not in my hands anymore at this point. I don't really have any games left to play or anything like that. So it's going to be an interesting next month or so. I'm anxious to see kind of how it all plays out. But either way, it's I've got really good opportunities, and it's something I'm grateful for, and I'm happy that I'm gonna be in a good place regardless of what happens.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun process to watch play out. And, selfishly, part of me says, man, I hope you make it to OU, because I've become a fan of OU baseball over the last couple of years and enjoy watching their games on ESPN Plus. And I know that you would be a difference maker for them, and probably could be that, the tipping point, if you will. You'll be a nice add to their roster and to their production, and they'll make with you there, they'll make a nice run over the next couple of years for sure. But on the other side of it, if you end up going the other way and headed to pro baseball, I'm definitely going to be following your progress, because you're one of those special players that I've watched a lot of great outfielders, and I've never quite seen anybody that has that instinct out there. The first step, the jump, the closing speed. That I saw you catch balls that you're not supposed to catch, and you made it look easy. And so there's some special talent there that one way or another, if it's not now, it's when you're going to be playing professional baseball. So either way, it's going to be fun to watch. So very cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the dream. That's what you work for, I guess. So we'll see how it all plays out. I do like I love the coaches at Oklahoma. So they're really good dudes. It's a really good fit for me as far as how they play and everything. So it'd be a cool experience either way. Well,
as our listeners have found out by now, both of you guys are wired the right way. You're very special. You're both very talented at the game. There's no surprise of the success in what you guys have accomplished. And there's so much more ahead of you, even beyond baseball. You both are going to accomplish a lot more in baseball, but when that's over, you guys are great young men, and you're going to be awesome husbands and fathers, and you're going to do amazing things in your corporate life, whatever that is, after your baseball careers end. So, pretty cool. So we're going to get to know you guys a little bit more personally now as we get into our, what I call the brains and brawn. So I'm going to ask 5 quick questions, and I just want both of you guys to respond with the answer that comes off the top of your head. So we'll start with, what is your favorite movie?
Kev, you want it?
Oh man. Favorite movie is Blues Brothers.
I'd probably say my favorite movie is Shutter Island with Leonardo DiCaprio.
2 good ones. Yep. Yeah. 2 good ones. All right. What's your greatest accomplishment?
Making the dean's list, or the president's list of PJC, honestly. 4.0 student.
Love it.
I'd probably say the Gold Glove from last year is probably my greatest. That was pretty cool and to have.
Yeah, that's pretty special. Good call, guys. Good choices. What is a goal that you are still chasing?
Division I baseball player.
Yeah, I'm trying to play professional baseball. That's the goal. That's the dream. Still going after it. So we'll see.
Never stop chasing them, guys. Never stop chasing your dreams. And when you reach the dream, make sure you set another one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay, if you could spend the day with anyone, past or present, who would that be?
Oh my gosh. Give me Ted Williams.
There you go.
Ted Williams. Let's see. Let me think. Probably right now. I'd say like Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds would be fun. Baseball mind. Kind of ask him some questions. See if I could.
He's the man.
See if I can get some answers out of him. Yeah, greatest hitter of all time, honestly. But
Absolutely.
And regardless of,
I'm not biased.
Peds or no Peds, the man.
Yeah, exactly. The dude could hit.
He could hit regardless, Peds or no Peds. The dude could swing the baseball bat
for sure.
All right, where's your favorite place to travel or visit?
Okay, so I haven't been there, but my family just recently got back from a trip there, and I would do anything to get to Ireland, where my original family, the Shea roots, come from. It's the most beautiful place in the world, I've heard, and I would do anything to go there. So,
beautiful.
That's me.
That'd be pretty cool. I like just beaches, kind of anywhere. I've been to Mexico a few times. I love going anywhere in Mexico. I want to go backpacking in like Europe for just like a month, just kind of completely get away from like America and everything. Maybe just leave my phone at the house and go live in Europe for a month with a backpack and just see what happens.
That sounds like fun. Can I go?
Heck yeah. All three
Let's go.
All three of us will go.
I'm in. I love it. All right, guys. As we wrap this up, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners?
You got it, Bear?
Yeah. First off, I just want to say thank you again for having us on here. But a lot of what we know is baseball, but I think a lot of the lessons we've learned from baseball translate to life. And I think being a good person and working hard and believing in what you do will get you where you want to go. And I think that's the biggest thing baseball's taught me, is just believe in what you do and don't stop until you get where you want to be.
Yeah, I kind of was going to say that similar thing. Just, you don't want to leave with any regret anywhere. And so if you're going to do something, you got to go 100% all out, do it to completion. And then if something doesn't work out, you can always look back and say, I gave it everything I had. And maybe it wasn't in the cards, but it's not like I did anything wrong. I did it to the best of my ability. And that goes for so many more things. That's what I've learned from baseball, is that I've learned that in life, you got to do everything to the best of your ability, 100%. And then if it's supposed to work out, it'll work out. And if it doesn't, you gave 100%. And you can always look back and say, I tried my very hardest. So that's just been a big thing that baseball has taught me. And I guess that reflects into all aspects of life.
Guys, very well said. Absolutely right on point. And I want to thank you again for this memorable conversation. I appreciate your insights, and I'm sure our listeners will as well. If any of our listeners would like to connect with you, what are the best ways to do so?
Reach out, social media. Pretty much all my social media is just Barrett Riebock. So reach out there. I'll do my best to answer. And that's a good way to reach me.
I'm a pretty sociable person. So, yeah, if you want to hit up any of my socials, Twitter, Kevin Shea. You'll find me on Instagram, Twitter. I'm pretty active on there. So, you get me on any of those social medias, and I'll do my best to get back to you.
Very good. Very good. Well, that's a wrap for today's Brawny Conversations podcast. Special thanks to our guests, Kevin Shea and Barrett Riebock. And I also want to thank each of you for choosing to listen to this podcast. New episodes are posted each month, so please remember to follow us and let us help you shorten your learning curve. Have a great day, everyone. You have been listening to the Brawny Conversations podcast. Thank you for choosing to spend time with us today, and please subscribe to the podcast to receive our latest episodes and give us a follow on social media. New episodes are now in production, and we can't wait to share them with you. Pursue your passions and help others along the way. Have a great day, and thank you for listening.